So, so welcome back. So it's been a while, and things have been kind of crazy these days. And well, what can I say? Crazy is the new normal, right? um, I wanted to do this video because I've been just watching from the sidelines, and I've been sort of surprised that there's no real dialogue happening right now between anyone really. Um, I think people within their own communities are dialoguing, but I feel that we're not seeing any actual dialogue between African Americans and white people. And it's very crude to say it like that, but um, from what I can see, no news media outlet has really taken upon itself to create a dialogue. I think either it's because they think it's stale or because they don't think people want to listen to it. And I'm thinking I want to share a conversation. And my guest is, my guest thinks it's really funny that, of course, it has to be with a dead black person. uh, so I put on my makeup. To me, you've never seen this kind of makeup, but to me, it's my Mother Mary makeup. I know in my video, it's not exactly the makeup that I did, but um, when she was visiting me, I was really interested in doing all these big smokies. So I feel it's appropriate that Mother Mary or Miriam is here, and my Angelou, another connector to that soul group, is here as well. And I wanted to ask her questions. Now, I've already been talking with her, so my questions are different. I wanted to really ask questions from a perspective of not knowing or not of being confused by the situation. And in a way, I think I am confused. Everyone is confused. And everyone's trying to do something, but in the end, nothing's really panning out. So, also, I'm kind of an astrology freak, and the North Node right now is in Gemini, and Gemini is all about having conversations and talking, not necessarily brilliant conversations, but the exchange. And I think we're sort of missing this. And if this inspires someone to do something similar, but with live people, um, you know, I kind of wanted to go in there and find a conversation with someone who knows about this. And she's available. She's saying, I'm available if you want to speak to me directly. If you're the only, if I'm the only person that you feel comfortable having a conversation with, you can try and dial into Maya Angelou. I personally, right now, I don't have a lot of friends. Not because I do this, because no, none of my friends know that I do this. I only have two friends at the moment. Even before the pandemic, I was an isolationist. But I wanted to, if you have black friends, or if you don't have black friends, or whatever it is, just have a conversation with someone who's different and see how they see if you're white. And I guess this video is going to be more for white people, because no one ain't going to listen to a white girl talking about a black issue. She says no black person's going to want to listen to some white woman. So this is for white people, and she doesn't really like white or black, but I think in this conversation, it's about this sort of divide or divides, and she's saying divide and conquer, and she smiles. And we live in a place where there are differences. However, she wants to say, however, we are human beings. And the only thing that divides us is not race, not necessarily race, but when you remove that element, she says, it's culture. It's the black culture and the white culture. Unfortunately, she says, we don't pray to the same God, and we don't read the same books, and we don't love in the same way, and we don't work in the same way. We don't think in the same way because our culture is much different than the white culture. Although we respect the white culture, being black is a different mentality. And that's why there's no real conversations happening right now between blacks and whites, she says, because we don't know how to speak anymore each other's language. And there used to be a time where we could, and some white people understand and some black people understand, but the majority, she says, do not understand one another because they're living on two different planets on the same planet. What is a So my Angelou, what is a white person to do to help with the cause? And what can a white person do? She says, well, a white person can stop thinking that they're white. It's a head trip, I know. But whiteness is a disease of the mind. Okay. Sorry, I just burst out laughing. She says, you should laugh at it because it is a perception in the mind that somehow you are different. And you are different. But the disease is not the difference. The disease is thinking that you are strange. That you are sorry. This is live. The disease is to think that there is a difference, yet you are different. I know it's hard to comprehend, but the word difference is a killer because there is no difference. She insists. There is no difference. It's just a difference. When you see the color of the skin, brown, caramel, deep chocolate, and then there is your skin. You are on a spectrum of skin color, and you are on a spectrum of face morphology, of bones, just how they're configured. It's not a real difference. The real difference is in your mind because you think white and they think black. So now there has to be a meeting point, of course. And like this one's been experiencing, it's reading about that point of view that is painful point of view of living black, of living with the karma of not being given the same opportunities. And when I say opportunities, I mean school, education. Education is something very important, and not just for black people, because when you see other white people who are in a class difference of not having the same money resources as other white people who are rich, then these white people who don't have access to education for their children, they're like black people, the same. They don't have the resources. Having the resources, and it is money, simply put, money. But to think that black people are poor because they want to, or because it is their tradition, or because they grew up poor, is a disease to think that way, because there are white people who grew up poor and who didn't have the opportunities, and they are in prison too. And they are being people who create crime because they do not have the same opportunities as other white people. I want to talk about being an orphan. We all are all orphans here on earth. We've all been unloved, not loved properly, or we've not been seen and we've not been acknowledged as a human here on earth. Even white people, even though they have beautiful images to look at of themselves, they are still orphans, because the issue here is divide. Everything is divided. Even white people are divided within money, class, education. It is all division, 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 division. And until we stop the division, then there is division. It's simple as that. So the next question that I see a lot, Maya, is, are there ways to help as a white person? What can someone who feels anxious at the moment do? Donating money, is that a good thing? Or what is a good thing, Maya? Donating money is a good thing, as long as you know that it's going to be helping people. However, there's always corruption, and that always existed. Charity is a good thing, but are there people around you that need help? If you're white and you're privileged, then probably another black person around you is privileged, or else they wouldn't be around you. Privilege, when you are privileged, then you are living in a place of privilege, and then you don't see the people who need this the most. There's many things that need to be done, but the best really is education. I cannot stress how education is important to every human being, to educate yourself, not only in matters of politics, of racial division, but to educate yourself, to read books, to understand the world as it is. Because black people don't live in the same world that you do. They haven't read the same books, and they haven't seen the same TV shows, and they just don't live in the same world that you do. It's sad, but that's the truth. I don't think that for them to be in a world that is white is a good thing. But I don't think for you to be in a world that is white is a good thing either. There's another world that you don't see yet, that is there for both of you. A world where there is no division, a world that is kind, because this world is not kind. Even less for the black people, it's even less kind, and there are even less kinder to each other. A world of kindness where people can be different, but not different. I know it's very difficult to conceive, but I think you know what I mean. If you've ever been different, and I think everyone has been different, whether you were tall or short, black or white, Chinese or European, or whether your hair grows out of your skull black or blonde or red, or whether your eyes are a strange color that people look at them when they see you, how your hands or feet or hips or waist or shoulders or muscles, or everyone is different but the same. It's very hard, but if you practice to connect different with same, samely different, different in same ways, variety, the love of variety. If when you see a face that is strange to you and you look at it and you try to find the beauty in the face, when you see a body that is different to yours but you try to find the beauty inside of that body, then you are practicing this very same perspective of this new world where everyone is beautiful, where everyone is smart, where everyone has the means, and not rich, but has the means to find what they need to find, the means to go and get what they need to go and get to be the human being that they need to be. Whew. Sorry, it's a lot of energy. It's so high vibration sometimes that I just cry. I'm sorry, I'm a crier. Okay. It's finished. That question's finished. Oof. Okay, so if we feel guilty, how can we step out of the guilt? You didn't necessarily create slavery, and you didn't necessarily kill George Floyd. You didn't necessarily be who you are. So you shouldn't feel guilty. What you should feel is compassion. You should feel compassion and not guilt. And I know some people would want to use guilt. Guilt only goes so far. Guilt is just a negative emotion that doesn't really expand. You realize that you feel bad and you know something bad has occurred, but it keeps you trapped like anger in the situation. Anger is a good thing and guilt is a good thing because you know something is not going well. Something is not the way it should be. But then you have to turn around and feel something good and do something that feels good. You must watch yourself the next time you see someone different, not just black, different, how you see them. Because it's not about necessarily black. Perhaps there is no black people where you live, but there are people who are different. And how do you treat those people who are different? And then when you meet a black person, how do you treat that person who is different from you in such an obvious way? And every day you must find beauty in people who are different from you. different from what you think is the right thing to do, or the right way of being or looking, or the right body, the right hair color, the right skin tone, the right kind of eye, the right kind of lip, the right kind of skin, you must ask yourself the question, why cannot I not see the beauty in this? Because if you cannot see the beauty, then you are doomed. Doomed not to see your own beauty and your own self. Your own self is everybody, and everybody is you. That is simple, simple, universal law. But the moment you are hateful, judgmental to anyone, then you open the door for discrimination and racism of all kinds that don't even have a name, don't even have the name, but you are creating that intent. And that intent lives in you. And you must be careful. For the intent that you put is the intent that keeps snowballing down the hill and creates more intent. So you must catch yourself whenever you judge, whenever you despise, delimit, even the orange one in the White House. When you despise him, when you look at him with eyes of anger and of derision, then you are racist towards the orange ones. I'm sorry, my friends, but that is the truth. Even though I agree with you, he's not the best leader, the best person. When you hate, you open the door for more hate. It doesn't matter if you're hating for a good cause. It does not matter if you are hating for a good cause. Hate is hate. So we should be careful of hate. And we should be loving towards any person, not just black people. So that's a really good lesson. I like that. Okay. What are the questions? What can the police do? The police. The police. The police are really in a strange position. Very strange. There are black people in the police, and there are yellow people in the police, and there are women in the police. But the police is a masculine body of energy. And anyone who is admitted to the police becomes white and becomes a man. That is simply the truth. You cannot be in the police and be a sensitive woman. And you cannot be in the police and be a black man, because the police is the police. Now, there needs to be people who uphold the law. However, if we all upheld the law, if we all were on the narrow and the good path, then there wouldn't need to be police. There wouldn't need to be discipline. However, there will be people who err, for to err is to be human, and to forgive divine. But I think, again, that the sameness must be broken down. This difference must be broken down in the police itself. They must learn other ways, other compassionate ways, and to pull their violence. She was going to say gun, but she chose violence. To pull violence out of their holster at each and every opportunity is not very compassionate. Violence is violence, and like hate, it just breeds more violence and more hate. They're looking with the eyes of hate and violence, and they're seeing everything in that way. They are trained to be violent. If they saw with compassion that the man who steals doesn't know any better, does not have an opportunity to find a place in this society, he is more orphaned than the other orphans. And I say man because unfortunately men tend to feel more orphaned by this society, even though they're leaders. They are orphans. They have been abandoned more than we can know. I wish for everyone to heal the child that has been orphaned in them. It is not an easy task. Perhaps many lifetimes will be needed to do that. But to show love is not a weakness, and to show compassion is not a weakness. It is a strength. It is a very, very big strength. And however, we teach our men that violence is strength. Their own violence and their own strength are connected karmically, unfortunately, through the ages. But to undo that, they need love. They need their own love, and they need to be seen with love. And that is a very difficult thing, to be seen with love on this planet. For everyone is looking at everyone. Disdain and distrust and apprehension, especially now. But love will save everyone. However, to love is still a weak thing, a woman thing, a childish thing. All those things are more than anything you can think of. That is power within power. And they have made you to believe that that power is weak. And therefore, you have weakened yourselves by the thought of the power you gave away. Now, how poetic is that, and how tragic is that? So tragic, so poetic. When you'll find it again, you will feel whole. You will feel deliciously whole. But that is your path of self-love. And like I said, watch your mind when it cuts other people, when you cut other people down to size. Now that will be the greatest task you will be faced with, because that is what needs to be changed. And that is all I have to say. Okay. She was, I don't have her tone, but she really meant that's all she has to say. She doesn't have anything else to say. She's telling me she said it all. She doesn't want to waste any more words. So there you have it. Conversation with Maya Angelou. And I hope it opens your mind, and I hope it makes you feel like you can find love for other fellow human beings. Yes, that's the mission. She says that's the mission. Bless you.